Hi there, I'm Jeanette Lane for Creative Stamping Magazine, and in today's video I wanted to share a quick demonstration, a quick tutorial for how to color with alcohol markers on Kraft colored cardstock. So I was really excited about this technique, which I don't know, maybe you already knew that you could color on cardstock, Kraft colored cardstock with alcohol markers. That was news to me, so I was really excited to learn that from the very talented Claire Rowlands of Daisy May Designs. So I thought that this way of coloring would be really great paired with the Love and Laughter Simply Made Crafts A4 size stamp set included in Creative Stamping issue 71, because we have some really lovely, gorgeous florals on here. And let's get to that demonstration so you can see how easy this is, and I think it's going to bring new life to your stamping. Today I'm going to be working with Little Tipsy alcohol markers, and these are a great starter set in case you're a beginner with alcohol marker coloring. So it's got a dual nib. We've got the fine tip on one side and then the broad chisel tip on the other side. And the first thing you want to do when you are coloring with alcohol markers, whether it's on Kraft cardstock or white cardstock, you want to swatch all of your colors, because the way that the color absorbs onto different papers, different cardstock, will really affect your coloring results. So you want to swatch your markers on the cardstock that you're going to be using for your stamping project. So here is the cardstock that I'm using. This is from Paper Mania. I do recommend getting an ultra smooth Kraft colored cardstock if possible, but this is what I had in my stash and I was really happy with the results. So here is why it's so important to swatch your colors on what you're using. So these are the colors I'm going to be using, right? And so this is a 124 fluorescent green, which is here. So it's this really muted kind of green color, right? Very different from what the pen cap looks like. And then if I swatch it on white, you'll see it's a very different tone. So this is what I love about this technique of coloring on Kraft colored cardstock, is that you get very different results. So you can get just a whole new range of colors just by coloring on Kraft colored cardstock. So there it is, there's 124. So you can see that difference there. Okay, so once you have swatched your markers, these are not all of the Little Tipsies that are available. It's just the ones that I thought just the colors that I thought would work well with this tutorial. So I'm going to start off my stamping with Memento ink, which I recommend. This is Tuxedo Black, which I recommend when you are coloring with alcohol markers, because you're going to need an ink that doesn't smudge. An alternate is to use archival ink in black, but to heat set it before you do any coloring. And also Nouveau hybrid inks work really well because you can use those with watercoloring or with alcohol markers, and you're not going to get any kind of bleeding from your ink. So we are going to grab some florals here from this gorgeous Love and Laughter stamp set from Helen Griffin of Simply Made Crafts. I'm going to gravitate to this one, and we're going to mount it on our stamp press here. Oops, I put it on the wrong side. Sorry about that. Okay, so I'm just going to stamp these twice. That will do. So ink up my stamp. And this stamp press, I believe, is from Woodware. So nice and inky. And I'm just going to stamp this in this corner over here. All right, that looks good. So there are my gorgeous stamps. Now it's time to color. Now the same alcohol marker coloring technique applies to both Kraft cardstock and white colored cardstock. So you're gonna need at least 2 shades of the same color to achieve a nice blended effect. So we're going to start off with our greens. So here I have my green colors that I'm gonna be using. So it's number 124, 43, and 42. And of course I can refer to my swatch chart here. And I'm going to start off with 124, which is my lightest color. I like to color from lights to dark. It's just easier for me. So I'm going to color all of my leaves. just kind of quickly, not very precisely, because then I can blend out this color in just a bit. So I'm concentrating the 124, which is my lightest shade of green that I'm using. And I'm so happy to actually be using this 124 color because it's very fluorescent, like I showed you earlier. And I rarely use it on white cardstock, but it is gonna be a staple whenever I color on Kraft colored cardstock. I just thought I would start this second one here, the second stamp image here, but yeah, super excited for this technique because it allows you, it gives you a different effect, completely different effect, but also it'll allow you to use different colors that maybe you haven't used before. So you will definitely be getting the most value for your money. And when it comes to your alcohol marker coloring stash, which is an investment if you have, you know, the really, really fancy, expensive markers like Copics and whatnot. So just a great way to color. All right, so I'm done with my 124 and I'm going to move on to, let's do the 42. And I'm just gonna darken up these leaves here along the outside, maybe here along the center. Okay, now I'm going to move on to 43 and just kind of go with a little bit of a darker shade of green. So just going back over my 42. So that's what my coloring looks like thus far. And now I'm gonna go back with my 124, which is my lightest color, and just blend this all out. I'm doing little strokes. So I'm going over the darker colors, my 42 and my 43, and pulling them towards the lighter side of my leaves. Just blending those colors together. I feel like Kraft colored cardstock is a little bit more forgiving than white colored cardstock. I'm not sure. I'm really loving the process. That's all I know. My leaves are done and now it's time to move on to our gorgeous little bloom in the center. So for that, I'm going to use a few oranges. So I've got 22, 24, 14 and 33. So I'm going to start off with 33 because that's the lightest color. So we're just going to concentrate this at just the edges of the petals. So just at the top, just the top part of the petals. And then we're going to move on to darker shades as we move towards the center of our flower. Okay, then I'm gonna grab my 22, kind of start here at not quite at the top like with the 33, but just right about here in the middle of the bloom. Just kind of doing strokes, downward strokes. Now that we are at the very center, we can go with our darkest color, which is our darkest shade of orange, which is number 14. So I'm just gonna color that center and then do tiny little strokes right here where it meets my 22. All right, so now I'm going to go back with my 33 and drag some of this darker shade, which was 14. So drag it upwards just a little bit, just to blend that out. So right where the two colors meet, I'm just pulling that color towards the darker color towards the lighter color. All right, and lastly, I'm gonna go with my lightest color, which is 33. And I'm gonna pull this color here, the 22, it was, yep. So many colors to keep track of, so I'm gonna pull that 22 all the way to the tippity top, maybe not quite to the top, but just pulling it ever so slightly towards the lighter side of the petals. So there is my bloom completed. Such a fun effect. Now the next step is to fussy cut this out. So give me a second to grab my scissors and do a little bit of fussy cutting, and then we can assemble our really easy, quick and easy card. I'm done fussy cutting out my florals, and what I'm gonna do now is just make a really simple card. So I have this card base here, it's Kraft colored, of course, and this is A6 size, and I really loved the look of this. It looks like almost like a Hawaiian kind of tropical card, so I was really excited about it. It reminds me of summer. So I'm just going to glue these down and then stamp a sentiment from the same, of course, from this gorgeous Love and Laughter stamp set. So let's get our sentiment stamp here, and we will stamp that on the center of our card. That looks good. I think I'm happy with that. All right, just gotta straighten it a little bit and grab my stamp press. And I'll use the same Memento ink as I did with my stamping. So get that nice and inky. There's my sentiment, and I want to mount my little blooms here with some foam tape. So just gonna put a little piece on the back of each of these to give it some, just a little bit of depth and dimension. This one down here. So here I have a card blank with this like orangey kind of pattern, which I thought paired well with the orange in my Kraft colored flowers. So I'm just going to glue that down. And again, I'll use my foam tape for this. And our simple Kraft colored card is done. I hope that you're inspired to try out this technique. It's a great way to get more out of your stamps and also your alcohol marker pens. And don't forget to pick up issue 71 of Creative Stamping and get this gorgeous Love and Laughter stamp set from Simply Made Crafts. I'm Jeanette Lane. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you real soon.